Jungle Gyms podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Jungle Gyms podcast. Today is Wednesday, the 27th of October, and what a night it's been. It was pissing at the start of the game tonight. It's been pissing right now. I can hear the rain tumble off the window outside, but I could not give a rat's arse because today I'm fucking happy. Paddy, how
Mm.
are you, mate?
Very good, mate. Again, quite an exciting night in the old football schedule. Uh,
Exactly.
Great night for us. Decent night somewhere else. Could have been better, but we'll talk about that later.
Absolutely. So, aye, full card in the Scottish top flight today. And we were away to Easter Road, Hibs against Celtic. We hadn't won there since, what, 5 years, was it? Aye?
Aye, 5 years. 2014, I think it was January.
In fact, longer than that, pardon me. Aye, 2014. In fact, the commentator was saying that the only surviving Celtic member of the last game that we won, was near Beaton. And he actually started on the bench today. He did come on. But aye, great night, great
Su-
night.
Surely Tommy Rogic must have been there as well, because he signed in January 2013. But I don't know if
Did
he was
he?
away back. I don't know if he was away back on loan to his club in Australia at that
Quite
point. But
possibly.
it was definitely signed with the club at that point. Anyway, I know that.
Quite possibly. Well, what a night it was, and we saw a lot of facets of the Celtic team today. So we won 3-1, and we blitzed them within the first half an hour. We kind of put the game to bed. They did get a goal back, but we never really kind of gave them any further encouragement. And that's what I mean by we saw a lot of facets
Mm.
today of the Celtic team. We blitzed them in the first half. Some of the football was the first half, probably one of the first half an hour, probably the best I've seen under Ange Postecoglou. And for the remaining parts of the game, we were put under a little bit of pressure at times, but I think we handled it very well. What was your overall thoughts of the game, mate, before we kind of break it down?
Mate, it was the first half was sensational. That's probably the best I've seen yet under Ange. Tom Rogic in the first half was just incredible, sensational. It was like it was like a modern day Zidane, mate. The ball was sticking to his feet. He was flowing by people with relative ease. It was just a joy to watch.
Hmm.
And then obviously you had the creative play up front with Turnbull kind of running the show. Just magnificent. Um,
It was. The lineup, let's kind of go through that. So we start off with Hart and goals in defence. We kind of remain, the defence was unchanged from last time. Juranovic at left back, Starfelt, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Ralston again. In the midfield, you've got Turnbull, McGregor, and Rogic. And a little surprise tonight, we had Mikey Johnson coming on.
mm,
I think it was his first start of the season, yeah. He played well in the last game when he came on as a sub. So you had him on the left flank, Keo go up through the middle, and Jota on the right flank. Were you surprised at seeing Mikey Johnson come in over like Giacomakis, for example, playing up?
I was expecting either the same kind of front lineup as Saturday, which was Jota on the left, Kyogo on the right, Giacomakis up front, or possibly, uh, Jota or Kyogo switched about,
Mm,
Giacomakis remaining up front. But I was very shocked to see Mikey. But I was really intrigued with his comments before the game. He basically said that he's been working hard and he's been doing a lot of work in the gym to try and build himself up. So we were talking about that just the other night there, talking about Mikey's fitness, saying how if we know that he's a very talented young boy, but
aye.
he's never shown any consistency with his physical levels, i.e. to go and get a straight run of games and try and maintain a starting berth. So
Exactly. And what you were saying, Ange was talking to like one source about Mikey building up in the gym. I was reading
mhm,
another one. He spoke to BBC Sports Sound, and he said before the game, putting the team together, it was the ultimate plan to have a lot of attacking options, and we're getting players back, which is great. Mikey gets a start tonight, and we have great options on the bench as well with Mikey and Anthony Ralston, I'm sure. Who else? A new manager comes in, and they start with a clean slate. I don't look at the past. I look at what they can do now. And Mikey, he gets the opportunity tonight. I open the door for them, and it's up to them to take the opportunity. Did he take the opportunity tonight? Would you reckon?
sorry, mate, you just broke up for a wee slight second there. You still talk about Mikey Johnson?
Aye. I was sorry. The internet's not that good up and ran through the night. I was just reading out the kind of pre-match comments for Postecoglou about justifying why he was starting Mikey. Did you catch much of that?
Aye, caught most of it, mate. You just slipped out for a wee second.
Aye,
Um, well, listen, if Mikey's come on the last game and he's impressed Postecoglou, and obviously if he's doing a lot of kind of work to impress the manager, maybe in the background training, whatever, showing his good character, then it's always a nice surprise when you're seeing young guys like Mikey Johnson come into the peripheral and come in and try and cement their place. Which I think he didn't do himself any harm tonight. Did himself plenty of justice.
he looked sharp. He looked sharp. He had McGinn, who was playing at right back for Hibs, and McGinn, in the first maybe 15, 20 minutes, he was kind of sitting off Mikey because Mikey was really on it. He was sharp, he was pacey, and he was coming inside, coming outside, making brilliant runs. It was so positive, and I think McGinn at that point he was kind of holding back, but later on in the game he started to kind of up the physicality against Mikey Johnson. But yeah, overall pleased with Mikey Johnson. So let's get into it. So the game heading into it, as we said, we hadn't won there since when 2014 or something. It was unfortunately for us a mid-table clash. I think we were currently our Hibs were currently in 5th place. They were 4 points behind us. And Hibs haven't had a great run recently. They've lost 3 games on the bounce going into this game, and now obviously today's the 4th one. So a lot of pressure that Jack Ross was going in tonight, but they had like a decent lineup. They had people like Jamie Murphy. I know that you're saying you're not a fan of him, a former Rangers player. He was on the left flank, and you had Martin Boyle, the Australian, on the right flank. 2 experienced, pacey wingers. And you also had Nisbet, who had a great season last season for Hibs. And you've got people like Porteous, who we all know about as well. And there was a battle in the midfield between our Rogic and their Gogic. So
it was real fun on watching on the streams tonight. You know, the commentators, because that boy Gogic, he was literally glued to Rogic. And you heard the commentator like Gogic on Rogic, Gogic fills Rogic takes away from Gogic.
Aye, he was becoming a bit of a tongue twister, and he certainly had a few nibbles at Rogic tonight anyway. But let's kind of get into it. So, a very, very fast start for Celtic. I think the first goal was your pal Anthony Ralston. So that was in the 10th minute. So Turnbull had floated in a free kick into the box. The defending for Hibs was not that good at all, and Anthony Ralston met it with a slight diving header. Markham was terrible. He was unchallenged, and he was only about 5 yards away for their goal line. The keeper never had any chance. So what is that? Is that his 4th goal of the season now?
I think so. That's his 2nd goal in the capital this season, isn't it?
Aye, because he scored against Hibs in the first game of the season. Aye, away. Sorry, against Hearts. Aye. What a player, mate. I'd actually posted in the WhatsApp group earlier on the day. It was like a photo of Messi celebrating his Ballon d'Or win, but it was photoshopped with Anthony Ralston's face on it.
Aye, I'm still trying to find out if it's true, right? But apparently, Ralston's statistical rankings show him being in like the top 10 players in Europe or something this season.
Yeah, pound for pound.
But if that's true, which I'm assuming it is, because I think everybody's kind of sharing that now. Do you know what I mean? That's some upturn for Ralston, for where he was at the start, for where everybody, well, certainly me anyway, and I'm assuming a lot of people kind of viewed him as being this kind of raw, untalented player. But you look at him and you look at some of the stuff that we said in the last podcast about Maeda, when he mentioned that it doesn't matter about your quality and talent. If you try and make up for that with your desire, heart, and effort. So, I mean,
it sounds like a Rocky quote, doesn't it?
You try to say I'm Mickey. No, but I say you look at guys like maybe people that kind of spring to mind would be like, see, your Paul Hartleys and your Barry Robsons. Now, they were never technically great players, but see, when we brought them in and they showed like absolute kind of effort, heart
on the sleeve, yeah.
A lot, mate. It was great. I would prefer them to like somebody that's going to dazzle us with a few tricks or whatever. I'd rather have somebody that's going to run through a brick wall. You know what I mean? And so if Ralston's going to do that for us, as well as kind of picking up the Ange philosophy, then I'm all for it, mate. I'm happy. I'm really, really delighted with his effort and what he's putting in and how much he's progressing. Really am.
And I know that we've seen it a few times this season. He's doing it at both ends of the park now for Celtic.
Mm.
Tonight there was a few occasions when he was the last man in defence. Not I mean playing people on, but he was sweeping up at the back. And his positional sense is really, really improving, which you alluded to in the last episode last night.
That's what it was. It was last night. I'm thinking it was 2 nights ago. No, listen, I definitely saw it because I was kind of sitting lower in the stadium this time as opposed to kind of camera view or sitting higher up. And Ralston was one of the guys that I kept my eye on throughout the game for his off the ball movement. And it was the same again tonight. I mean, even like for his goal, that's great timing and great movement to get into that position. And obviously, it was a great finish. You know, a diving header, fantastic. And it gets us off the
Packy
mark.
Boner. Exactly. Sorry for interrupting. Packy Boner, near the end of the game, he was actually saying without a doubt Ralston was his man of the match. And I don't mean to kind of fast forward like a Tarantino movie, but Ralston is he almost becoming unplayable at right back now? How does Juranovic take that position? That's
Well,
what
I
he was
think
signed for.
I think it's telling that Juranovic is, he's a Croatian international, 25, 25 I think he is. So I'm sure he's got about 3 years on Ralston. And he's been played at left back and he's a right back. You know what I mean? So whether or no people think Ralston isn't undroppable, it appears that Postecoglou thinks that he's undroppable because he's playing the Croatian international at left back and sticking with Ralston at right back.
Aye, he can take the penalties, but he can't take the right back berth. That's one thing, anyway.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a fight if he's trying to square up to Ralston. Anyway, I'll say that.
Very true.
But listen, see, talking about Ralston's goal, it was a great delivery for Turnbull. So it was, and obviously Turnbull set up the second goal as well for the corner.
Exactly. Aye. So moving on to the second goal, that was in the 14th minute. It was a corner for Celtic, an in-swinger from Turnbull, and Cameron Carter-Vickers actually wrote down in my notes, pish defending yet again, another Turnbull assist. Cameron Carter-Vickers inside the box. It was a side foot volley, and it went past the goalkeeper. I think if you were Jack Ross, or if you were a Hibs fan, you'd be pulling your hair out. But again, we'll take it. Positivity from Celtic, 2 goals. We expected a really hard night tonight, and we did have to get in the trenches at times. But in this opening half hour, it was really mind-blowing stuff. Free-flowing attacking football. And funnily enough, that ironic thing is, although it was free-flowing attacking football, the first 2 goals are set pieces. And I texted you in the WhatsApp group earlier on, I'm like, Turnbull really needs to put in a shift. Because we can't have any passengers in the midfield, and I just want him to, although he's got the quality, as we see from these set pieces, he needs to earn it. He needs to fight as well, show that dig, and I think we got that from him. What did you make of the second goal, mate?
No, the second goal was excellent. Again, I mean, if you look at the two of them individually, the two of them look as if they've been practiced on the training ground, which is it's a massive positive because that was something that was really, really lacking last season, was defending set pieces and attacking set pieces. Now, there's tonight. You've seen an example of 2 goals right away that started us off the game with 2 goals early on, and the two of them look as if they've come straight from the training ground. You know what I mean? So that's everything tonight, bar their goal, obviously, was a total positive, and it's starting to look now as if there's more coming into this team rather than just running up the park and trying to score.
Aye. Actually, I forgot to mention, I think right after the first goal for Celtic, maybe a minute, 2 minutes later, obviously you hear that old cliche, you're most vulnerable right after you've scored. But Hart had to pull off a last-ditch save with his the outstretched foot. So your mate, Jamie Murphy, he cut in for the kind of left flank, and Ralston came out to confront him. He came inside, and then they played through a ball, and it kind of carved open our defence to an extent. And I forget which Hibs attacker it was, but he came in and might have been Juranovic who was tackling him, but he managed to put in a decent shot to try and beat Hart. Hart outstretched the foot, and at that point it would have been one each. It could have changed the momentum of the game. Great save for Hart, and that's what you need. They had another solid, quiet at times, but a solid performance tonight.
Well, this is the thing where we're still kind of finding our feet here with concentration levels. Because up Hibs end of the park, Ralston's went away up, scored a diving header, And then literally a few moments after kick-off, the ball's been swung down the left-hand side, kind of driven through, and Ralston's been slightly out of position, and he's tried to kind of flick his feet up to catch it, and the ball's just went by his feet, and I'm sure it might have been Murphy, because he's usually on the left-hand side, I think. He manages to get it, get by him slightly, and put a ball in. And a great save for Joe Hart, actually. It didn't look fantastic as such, but it was so much an important save. He just stuck his leg out, which you would expect your keeper to do. Instinct, reactive, brilliant, kept us right in it, and pushed us up the park, and we got the score momentarily after it.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. And just like a Tarantino, we'll go back to just after that second goal for Celtic. So we're 2-0 up. And by that point, I actually looked at the stats. And so we're like 15 minutes in at this point, roughly. And we're about 80% possession in favour for Celtic. We were really, really like enjoying our football. And as fans, we were just loving it. So continuing on in that vein. We could I think we got a few more chances that we could have put away, but the next goal, the third goal for Celtic, comes in the 30th minute, and this was the goal of the night. So I was going to say that Rogic, in typical dribbling fashion, he beat a couple of men and then he plays in Jota, but Rogic only gets that because the ball was there to be won, and Jota received the ball and he pirouetted 180 degrees, but he didn't just turn his body, he turned with the ball. He had it on the inside of his foot and he turned with the ball, and he changed the direction of it. He fed it back to Rogic. Rogic beats a couple of players, he feeds in Jota on the right hand flank. Jota beats the offside trap, and at that point the Hibs defenders don't know where they are. They're all at sea, they're holding their hands up hoping that the linesman is going to bail them out, and at that point Kyogo's on the other flank inside the box. Jota squares it to him, and Kyogo has an easy finish past the Hibs keeper. And at that point, I was like just in the process of texting you to say, I think Jota and Kyogo have been a wee bit quiet tonight. Where are they? And they do that. That was fantastic. It was poetry in motion, mate.
No, listen, as you say, it was a great bit of shielding for Jota because he had two men coming in on him. And it looked as if he was kind of slightly, it looked as if he was almost going to ground a wee bit. And he manages to shield the ball, do his wee pirouette, pass it into a short pass to Rogic. Rogic just takes it again, which he was doing the full night. He was just taking it in full flow. And it's just so smooth and effortless with him. I think the commentator said that during the game, he's almost got a kind of a lazy kind of approach to the game. It looks lazy, but it's almost that laid back. Do you know what I mean? That the guy's got so much skill that he can just kind of, it's effortless.
This is Jota, yeah?
No, Tommy Rogic.
Pardon me. Aye, totally. I think the start that Rogic has had to this season has been, apart from just the fact that it's surprising how good he's already been away on international break with Australia. I know that we keep harping on about this, but he's just been so good for Celtic. He's been pivotal. We wouldn't be where we are right now without him, I think. And he's helped. He's probably helped a few of the players kind of bed in because he's been there and done it with Celtic for a number of years right now. We've really depended on Rogic, and the fact that he's been injury free is you can't understate the importance of that, mate.
No, that is well, and the fact that Rogic is actually playing 90 minutes week in, week out.
Aye. Who would have seen that before?
When did you ever see that? You know what I mean? And you always expected, like when there was an international break, even if Tommy Rogic had came into form before the international break, he would go away, play for Australia, come back, and then that would be him out for a couple of months, either through injury or through lack of form. And it actually looks really strong as well. I think. I don't know if that's any coincidence, but he looks to be so much more a physical threat. And I know he was always good at shielding the ball and rolling defenders, that kind of thing. But now he's kind of getting in, and there's a wee bit of hustle bustle about him.
And Gogic, whatever the hell the guy's name is, okay. He brought him down 3 times. So like eventually you'll see that he has to go off. He has to go off in the 44th minute, replaced by Beaton. But he was getting a lot of challenges, and he kept on turning his man in midfield and powering past them. Like he was running past them. He was doing it through skill and physicality. And that's like Rogic in full flow. As you rightly said, he was a bit like Zizou tonight. And I know that kind of passions are high. We're all kind of really happy and stuff like that after their performance. But I think without a shadow of a doubt, for me, the first half from Rogic was probably the best I've seen from him.
I don't think I could argue with that. It's definitely up there with his kind of form in Brendan Rodgers' first season. You know, when he was very pivotal. You know, the goal against Aberdeen to win as a treble. That kind of free flowing performance. It was just beautiful to watch. So silky.
Totally. Well, the only kind of blemish, well, apart from Rogic coming off, we hope it's not serious. It came off in the 44th minute. Do you think it was? Do you think it was like a knock from one of those challenges, or?
I think I heard it was a slight hamstring. I don't think it was too bad, but he got up and tried to carry on. But I think Postecoglou just whipped him off just to be safe, and he brought on Beaton, which was fair enough, I suppose, at that point, because we were in control of the game. We weren't chasing it, so we could have brought on a kind of shielding player.
True. Well, apart from that, the only blemish on tonight's performance was the goal that we conceded. That was in the 37th minute, and it was a corner for Hibs, and it was Martin Boyle, I think, who headed it in. Hart never had any chance with that, I don't think. But tell me what your perspective was in our defending for that corner kick.
I think it was poor for Vickers. I don't really think I could blame anybody else apart from him. As far as I remember, he kind of caught himself a bit short, so he ended up kind of behind two men as the ball came in. But definitely one of the guys that he was marking. You know, he managed to get into the position. I'm not sure if it was him that scored, but it was definitely slack play again for Vickers. But we've seen that for him. But you know what we've seen for him in a poor wise since he's come in. You know, he certainly made up for it with some great tackles, excellent strength, good communication, good passing, linking up well with Starfelt again.
Aye. So after that, we reach half time, and the boos rang down for the stadium from the home fans to Jack Ross. That goal, he didn't even celebrate that goal because the performance up until that point had been so deplorable from Hibs. But on the other hand, Celtic were that good as well. Hibs kind of did struggle to get into the game. So at half time, it was looking very, very rosy in the garden. That goal did kind of maybe take the shine off things, but at half time, though, Jack Ross must have had a few positive words to say to the Hibs players because they came in with a different attitude after half time, and certainly for the first 15, 20 minutes. They kind of changed things up a wee bit and made it much more challenging for Celtic. Were you disappointed that we kind of took our foot off the pedal, or do you think it was more a case of Hibs went from shite to okay at that point?
Well, they were better than okay because they were certainly kind of over the top of us. Fair play to Hibs for kind of changing their mentality, especially being 3-1 down. But I think I was a wee bit more annoyed at the fact that we never came out and looked as aggressive as we did in the first half. But maybe that was a factor of Rogic going off. But certainly we didn't look to press as much as we did, and we didn't look to kind of stamp our authority on the game. We kind of let Hibs overrun us and take control of the game, which could have been a case of like Hibs went up the park, scored another goal, then at that point it's squeaky bum time. You know what I mean? You're maybe going to come away with a point or get beat. But thankfully we kind of held on in there. But it was a bit of Jekyll and Hyde game in that respect. First half was sensational, second half was shite.
It could have been different if maybe Furuhashi took a couple of his other chances in the first half. We really could have went in like 4-1 up, 5-1 up easily.
There was one with Turnbull as well. I can't mind who slipped him through, but he was through on the defender's right hand side. He could either squared it across to Kyogo, I think, or he could have took a shot. He took a shot, but he didn't even get it on target. It was really, really wide.
One thing I noticed was Jota. He was like really, really hugging the byline at times. Obviously he started off on the right flank for this game, and later on, as we'll see in the second half, he then moved over to the left. But for right, he was really hugging that byline. And I think Hibs were playing like 5 in midfield. Obviously, they had the 2 wingers, but it was like 3 in the central midfield, and then they had the 2 wingers, Boyle and Jamie Murphy. But we were quite narrow in our midfield, but our 2 forwards on either side, they were really hugging the touchline, especially Jota. And I was just wondering, from a tactical point of view, we were kind of capitalising on using the full space of the park. That might have been where Hibs went wrong. But he was always providing us an option on the right flank. I felt at times he wasn't really involved that much in the first half because we normally see him floating inside. But he was always that option on the right flank anyway. But certainly in the second half, he went over to the left eventually, and I thought he became a wee bit more involved anyway. But so in the second half, we were kind of labouring on a wee bit. Hibs, as you rightly say, they were getting much more into the game, and I feel that we saw a different kind of side to Celtic, a bit like maybe at the Aberdeen away game at Pittodrie, where we had to kind of fight, show our defensive shape, and the defence really kind of came into their own. How good was Starfelt, do you think, tonight?
I thought it was decent. Aye. It looks to be a lot more confident. I'll give him that. It does look to be a lot more confident. Still the odd kind of wee mistake here and there, but thankfully it's been nothing that's been capitalised on. But he's certainly, between him and Vickers, that looks to be a really good partnership. And I suppose you can only get that kind of partnership, when you're constantly playing with each other week in, week out, which is what we've seen. We've seen consistency. The only place that we've not seen consistency is at left back. You know what I mean? You Ivanovic coming in again tonight, which was another change. As you say the other night, it's like the left back lottery.
True. And for a moment in the second half, I thought it was again the poison chalice of the left back, because he took a couple of fingers to his eyeball maybe, or his face, and he went down, and I didn't know what was going on. I thought he was done. I thought he was done, but you see the replay and you're like, right, okay, you might not get scratched a wee bit, but come on, get back up. That's the last thing we need for another guy to go out at left back.
No, it was. It was one of the ones, as you would probably describe it years ago, as he's ripped his tights, something like that. Do you know what I mean? It was. It looked very. What's the word? Is it innocuous? Is that the word? Very tame. Put it that way. I don't think there was any. I don't think there was any reason for him to be rolling about the deck. But hey.
True. Well, picking up from that, on the 65th minute, Mikey Johnson comes off. He did well for his first start of the season. I think he was up against McGinn, who's like quite experienced. He's actually been called up to the Scotland squad. McGinn.
Is that Stephen McGinn?
Yeah.
Stephen McGinn, aye.
I think so. You've got 3 of them. Obviously, John McGinn playing at Aston Villa. You've got Stephen McGinn, and have you got a Paul McGinn as well?
Paul McGinn, that's aye.
Right. Okay. So is it Paul that we're going for, or Stephen playing for Hibs? One of the two.
Do you know? I think it's Paul. I'm sure Paul's the right back, and I'm sure the other two is midfielders. I might be wrong there, but I'm sure it is. Anyway, one of them anyway.
True. Aye, so he had a hard shift. He did all right. So he comes off, and Giakoumakis comes on. So Giakoumakis takes the centre forward position, and at that point, Kyogo gravitates towards the right, and Jota flits over to the left. And I think Jota maybe kind of came more into it. I think he might be slightly more comfortable on the left. I know that he had a brilliant game against Real Betis on the right hand side for Celtic, but I don't know. The more I see of him on the left, I think he looks a wee bit more comfortable cutting in on his right foot. And you've seen him smash the bar a few times. He looks, he's got all the options open to him when he does that. But anyway, I'm digressing. Giakoumakis, he had a couple of chances, didn't he? He had one part where he linked up with Kyogo. Kyogo played him in, and I think Kyogo might have been expecting the ball to come back to him, but Giakoumakis took it first time, and it went by the goal. And then another one, he had a header in the box, and he put it wide. Again, big kind of typical centre forward. We were hoping to be getting another goal and kind of continue that run as he got his first goal the other night.
That's the striker's instinct, is to take it yourself. So you can't. It's going to come to a point where he takes the chances. The more that he takes the chances, the more chances he's going to score. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of the ones you've got a kind of interchanging forward line, as you say. You've got Jota on the right tonight, Furuhashi through the centre, Mikey Johnson on the left. The other day there it was Jota on the left, Furuhashi on the right, Giakoumakis through the centre. Then Giakoumakis comes on again tonight, and everything changes back over.
Totally. Aye.
So it's good. It's good that we can constantly change things. It's good that we're no rigid. We're rigid in formation, as we discussed before. Rigid in formation, but we're no rigid in personnel. But I think that's what Ange said at the start when he came in. He says, I want my forward lines not just to be like a left winger or a right winger. I want them to play across the front three anywhere. Which is good. We're getting it.
And just kind of to finish off, Joe Hart, he made another smashing save. That was in the 75th minute. It was kind of like Schmeichel-esque where he came out, and as soon as the Hibs attacker realised it was played in goal, he was already confronted by Joe Hart, and he spread himself out, and he managed to block the shot, which was encouraging to see. So two really good saves for Joe Hart tonight. Obviously conceded one, but I don't think he could have done anything about that goal. And one kind of funny incident for me was right at the end. Cameron Carter-Vickers was like running up he found himself on far up in the right wing, and at that point you're just kind of trying to kind of kill the game, and so he ran up to the corner flag and he put his foot in the ball, and he had two. He's right facing the Celtic away support as well, so they were loving it, and he had two Hibs defenders try to push him off the ball, and he was like, "No, I'm not budging at all here. You're going to have to try harder than that." It was really funny.
Do you know what it was like, mate? It was like watching like a dad playing football in his back garden with his two wings. You know what I mean? They're trying to tackle him and he's just holding them off.
Aye.
Great show of strength, which is it's what you would want to see for your defender. Obviously, with him turning himself into a kind of impromptu right winger and just fending off these deviants, you know what I mean? Be gone.
Aye. You wonder what he was thinking. It's about the 90th minute. I'm going to take the piss and run up the right flank. Aye.
It's maybe that's the kind of basketball background for him. You know what I mean? Because you always get that one guy that's like a defender in basketball, and he loses his momentum for 1 minute and just goes on this mazy run up front with the ball and just goes into a corner and you can't get it off him.
Well, it was good entertainment anyway. I enjoyed it. But just to kind of, as a summary of the game, the possession to start off with in the first half, like it was massively in our favour. It finished up 41 to 59 in our favour. Shots for Celtic, we had 19. Hibs only had 9 shots on target. We had 8 on target, and Hibs had 4 on target. And corners, they had 4 corners. We had 8 corners. And fouls, yeah. They were a wee bit physical tonight, Hibs. I think that was probably maybe the biggest kind of chance that they could really hurt us. They've got footballing ability, but I think everybody would think that their first impression would be, we'll go at them physically to see if we can rattle them.
Well,
but they didn't.
I'm just wondering then if that was Jack Ross's game plan, because I noticed yesterday that there was comments in the news that basically he said that he had Celtic's card marked and he knew how to basically take the game to us, and he knew how we would play and how he would counteract that. So clearly his game plan must have been to have like Gogic go and try and basically just kick Rogic, which never it didn't happen. You know what I mean? That's how good we were. We were able to overcome that kind of physical force and a bit of violence as well. Because as I say, Rogic was getting kicked all over the place. You had that maniac Porteous flying into another challenge tonight, just 2-footed, just absolutely crazy.
I have heard a few Celtic fans, maybe back in the summer transfer window, float Porteous' name as a potential for Celtic. I think a couple of people at that point fancied him. What do you think of him?
Oh, I think he's a bomb scorer. I think at the start when he was kind of coming through, a bit last season, the season before, he looked like a decent young prospect, but he's never really moved on for the heights. Now he just seems like I say, an absolute maniac. You know what I mean? There's no excuse me. There's no brain there in terms of like what he did at Ibrox, even though it was a bit harsh. Just went into a 2-footed lunge. He's done it again tonight. Luckily enough, nobody got hurted. But nah. I mean, it's the same as you say when people's names were floated about. You had that other big donkey for Aberdeen. What was his name? Scottish guy, big centre half.
Gallagher, or am I talking crap?
No,
McKenna.
Scott McKenna,
Aye. Do you remember that tackle that he put in at the Euros when he came on as a sub for Scotland, and within like the first minute he
Was
had
it
like
was it his first touch was basically a tackle?
aye, and he got a yellow, he got a yellow card, man.
Well, he was
Fucking
he was another name that was always getting touted as getting a move to Celtic, and then I think Nottingham Forest signed him for like 10 million or something, and that was just wow. That's up there with Jack Henry levels of like craziness in terms of transfers.
aye. Although Jack Henry's doing better, did his team Bruges actually beat Lionel Messi and Mbappe, or was it a one each game?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to
Something
leave
like
that
that
to
in the
you.
Champions League anyway. Here, by the way, I've just seen the comments come through for Ange Postecoglou post-match interview, so I'll just read it out to you, mate. I thought the first half was probably the best we've played all year. We said that too.
Absolutely.
We were really fluent. We played through the lines and created good chances. We scored 3 and could have had another 3. It was really pleasing to see, especially here against a good side. I don't know about that part. Second half was a different game. They threw everything at us. We had to defend a bit more and work hard in certain areas. Joe Hart made one really good save, but that's what we have to do at times away from home. There's plenty of football to come. A short turnaround for Livingston on Saturday. We've been pretty settled since the international break, but the pleasing thing is we still have some players who can come in and help us. Not on the injury front, to Tom Rogic, he explains that his fellow Australian felt something untoward in his hamstring, but says the midfielder brushed it off as not too bad. So, aye, all in all, a fair summary for Ange on that one, mate.
Absolutely. As long as he can recognise that, I know it's hard to kind of keep up that tempo that we had in the first half. It's really, really hard to keep that up for 90 minutes. Take in consideration of kind of fatigue, fitness levels, and that. But if we've got Anton Macalone in place and he's going to be working his magic, hopefully, then we're going to be able to see performances like the first half move into the second half. Even see them past 70, your usual 60, 70 minutes when players start to drop off when they come out the trap fast. But I think the night we just came into the second half with a wee bit of a different mentality that we thought maybe Hibs would come at us and just wait and see what happened, and then that just kind of lingered on. But listen, do you know what? End of the day, mate. Great night at the office. 3-1 away at a tricky tie. First time we've won at Easter Road in 5 years. Absolutely brilliant. And that takes us up to where in the league, Gav?
We are second in the league, so I think we're 2 points behind Rangers, and we're 1 point ahead of Hearts. To be honest, it was a bit of a coupon buster the night for a lot of the teams in Scotland, the fixtures. Ross County get a cracking result, 5-0 away against Dundee, but a lot of draws the night. So Hearts, they drew 1 each away at St Johnstone. To be honest, I couldn't get a toss about that. I will take it for granted that they'll drop points. It's a natural thing. History is on your side. That's always going to happen. Rangers, on the other hand, they were at home to Aberdeen. Scott Brown returning, I'm sure he would have got a warm reception and certainly an emotional night if you're a Rangers fan going to Ibrox after the passing of Walter Smith. But I come up and they drew 2 each. So let's talk about that. Aberdeen 2-0 up. Rangers get a goal back, and then they get a penalty near the end. What the fuck? What the fuck? That penalty. For any of the viewers right now, if you've not seen it, please check out on Twitter. Have a search for it on Twitter. The penalty given to, I think it was like Fashion Sakala who won it in the box. It was like a kind of a floating ball maybe, and he tried to head it. He made like an absolute donkey of it, and he fell in his arse. An Aberdeen player who was just standing next to him, he didn't even really challenge him. He didn't have to because the Rangers attacker was that bad at making an effort to win the ball. He falls in his arse.
That's brother beaten right in the script again tonight. You know, 2-1 down at Ibrox, front of the home crowd, pushing her in. What happens? They get the second worst penalty I have ever seen in my entire life. The worst one I've ever seen was the one with Willie Collum. The one when his back was turned to it, and he gave a penalty against Mastorovic. If Willie Collum had never made that decision back then, this would have been the worst penalty I've ever seen in my life. It was a disgrace. But you know what? I was going to say it was unbelievable, but it's no unbelievable. It's totally believable. See, if anybody is in any doubt about corruption and cheating by the Scottish referees in this country and in this league, that the night is the perfect example for it. Because I'm telling you, I feel like Kevin Keegan now. I reversed Kevin Keegan. I'm not loving it. I'm hating it. It was an absolute disgrace. So it was. Anybody that's not seen it, I'll put the link up on the Facebook page. It was shocking. The guy, David Bates, it was ex-Rangers centre back. He was
the ginger guy, yeah.
Aye, big ginger guy. He was the one that was basically
Nothing against gingers.
Absolutely not. He was just standing there, and this Sakala guy literally throws himself kind of in the air as if he's taking some sort of like an attack. And right away, you know what I mean? I'd message you. I'd put it in the message about 10 minutes before. I says, don't worry, guys, it'll not be long until brother beating Giza penalty. And what happens?
My other mate called it as well. My other mate texted me to say, just wait, they will get a penalty at some stage.
Mate, it's not even... honestly, man, it's crazy. It's crazy how blatant this is. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if anybody calls it an honest mistake. I don't care if anybody says that fucking Bates fucking pushed him with his balls or whatever. I don't care. That was a fucking cheat, a scumbag cheat for that referee.
It's one of those ones. And
Sick it.
it's one of the ones where we need VAR. We need VAR to come in right now to put this argument to bed, this thing to bed. We need VAR to come in. And I hope that we were speaking about VAR a few episodes back, weren't we? And I hope that they agree to it. It's not going to cost an awful lot of money. I think it's going to be over the course of a season, £80,000 per club to fund the installation of VAR in all the top flight clubs. We need it. We need it.
No, we need it. We need it. They don't need it. They don't need it.
I wonder if they vetoed it. I want to think if they did that.
I tell you what, see whoever brings it in, they'll be getting a fucking a horse's head in their bed, Godfather style.
I like it. I like it, mate.
Or maybe the goat seed for the Masonic Club, maybe.
Well, I know that it's a good night for us. Okay, so Rangers dropped 2 points, and the other highlight of the night was Scott Brown scored as well. He must have fucking loved that.
Thanks very much, Captain Bruno. Appreciate it.
And the celebration.
That was a great wee celebration as well, wasn't it? A bit cheeky.
Aye, he mimicked Morelos as well. I don't think you can really mimic such an ugly face, but you can only try.
Well, as Halloween, I'm sure we can find a mask somewhere. You know what I mean? It was frightening.
Aye, totally. So just to kind of run up on where Celtic are right now. I know that in last night's episode we spoke about the McGinty gauntlet of this crucial 8-game period. We're about halfway through that. This is the 4th game on the trot right now, so that was so we beat St Johnstone 2-0, we beat Ferencvaros 2-0, we beat Motherwell 2-0, and we've just scalped Hibs 3-1. So we've got another 4 games to go. The next game was we're at Parkhead Saturday. Is it at home to Livingston? Well, the last time we played Livingston away, that was bloody tough. That was turgid. But we've got a bigger pitch. We've got Celtic Park. We've got the home fans.
Aye, well, we're not having to go and perform at the Spaghetti Head, which is a good positive. We've got them on Celtic Park. Got them in the big open pitch. What we need to do is basically go out there and play with the same kind of gusto and attitude that we have been doing, and go and kind of blow them away, because they're still going to come with the same game plan. They're still going to have their big cluggers in, trying to put the boot in, trying to sit in tight and narrow, and try and kind of compact their centre forwards. But if we play with handball, and it's full flow, then I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to break them down at Celtic Park and come away with a good 3 points.
Totally. What would be ideal is an early goal to kind of open them up a wee bit, because I think we're getting more cute now at kind of unlocking the defence, and we'll certainly need Rogic back for that. I think Postecoglou alluded to the fact that it wasn't too bad, so we hope that we'll be back, that he'll be back for Saturday anyway. So things are looking very good. I'm happy with that. Wednesday night, you cannot complain, mate.
Definitely.
So, any final thoughts before we conclude it for tonight?
I just, as you say, just to echo what you said, it was a great night at the office. 3 points back in the bag again. We're on a definite winning run. managed to get some really big gorillas off our back. You know, the first fucking victory since Valentine's Day, the one the night winning the Easter Road for the first time in 5 years, which is it's mental when you think about it. I know Hibs were relegated in between that, but still. Aye, so good performances all round. Aye, just great to see. You know what I mean? Everybody's starting to get excited again. Everybody's starting to. There's a good aura about Celtic. They're now on the park, and that's down to Big Ange, the players. So
Definitely. And as Dazza said last night, game by game, just take it game by game. That's all we can do. So we've got Livingston. That's what we'll focus on this weekend. We'll beat them, hopefully, and move on to the next one. That's all we can do. And after that, I think we've got Ferencvaros, and they're visiting us on next
4th of November.
Thursday. That'll be. Yeah, 4th of November.
Yeah.
Aye. So the McGinty Gauntlet, we're halfway there. We're doing well, and I think from myself and from you, from the Jungle Gyms, and to the viewers, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment, please. Thanks very much. Good night, guys.
Cheers.